Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello and welcome back to another installment
episode?
That sounds like I'm getting DirecTV.
It also sounds like you're getting like a shot or an enema of some kind.
Ooh, let's not say that.
Yeah.
So,
welcome to a new enema. No, that doesn't sound right either.
Welcome to a new vaccination of the episode. All right, this is We Should Be Better at This. My name's Chris Donovan.
And my name is Eric Leckie. This is a very special episode, like when they used to have the Christmas-themed sitcom episodes. Yeah. Welcome to a very special episode of the Brady Bunch.
Right. This time we're doing it without pants on.
Ooh, well, I thought that's how we always did it.
Yeah.
One time for Halloween, I couldn't come up with a buddy of mine. We couldn't come up with a costume, and we were about to go out to a party. So I had this tuxedo, and he put on the bottom half and then didn't wear a shirt, and I put on the top half of the tuxedo and didn't wear pants, and we went as the man with no top and the man with no pants.
Wow.
But we were dressed really fancy, except for we were missing half of the outfit, and it was like the hit of the whole party. Like everyone thought it was like the best costume.
You're like,
and
I literally put it in about 10 seconds.
Maybe not even 10 seconds. Yeah. So for this episode of We Should Be Better at This, we are going to be talking about the 1984 classic,
giant, huge, gigantic hit,
Beverly Hills Cop, the original.
Which some of you don't know.
Let's hear a little bit of that music. I want that played at my funeral.
Nobody's going to be at your funeral.
Nobody is. I'll tell you a little bit of the plot synopsis. Right. First of all, it came out in 1984. Axel Foley, by the way, great name.
Perfect.
Axel Foley is a Detroit cop who, after the murder of his friend, he goes to California to investigate and track down the killer, who he believes operates an art dealership as a cover in Beverly Hills. He teams up with two reluctant detectives from the Beverly Hills Police Force who are supposed to keep watch on him, especially after seeing Foley's, let's call it, different approach to taking to situations, which is not acceptable by the chief of the local police, and hilarity ensues. Now, this movie stars a few big stars. It stars, of course, Eddie Murphy, as everyone knows. It stars Judge Reinhold, who will forever, in my mind, be the guy whacking it to Phoebe Cates in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Okay.
John Astin as Sergeant Taggart.
Yes.
Ronnie Cox, who always played the policeman.
He plays in Vice Versa.
Jonathan
too, right?
Banks, who I think went on to do Breaking Bad, and a few other big. Bronson Pinchot.
Close and Laddie, or Balky Bartokomous.
Balky Bartokomous from Perfect Strangers in here. He's Serge.
I remember that. He was hilarious.
He was hilarious. He was definitely the comedic thing.
Oh, Paul Reiser too,
and a little bit of Paul Reiser in there as well. So, in my opinion, this is Eddie Murphy at his peak.
I wouldn't say the peak. I think he hasn't reached the top of the hill yet.
This is the start of his peak.
Yeah.
This is him being one of the more famous people in the world at this point.
This is definitely a really big franchise. They made 4 of them, I believe. The first one being this one, the second one being...
The first 2 were very good. The first 2 were hilarious.
The same movie, same actors.
They were the same. Everything was the same.
Third one, I don't remember so much, but the fourth one was in an amusement park, if I remember.
No, I think that was the third one.
Third one was an amusement park?
Yeah.
Okay, and the fourth one was a crossover with Die Hard?
I don't know. Fourth one could have been animated for all I know, because I didn't see the fourth one. But the first 2 are pretty good, and I really enjoyed them.
But then he made 2 with Nick Nolte too. Oh wait, no, that was
48 Hours.
Oh well.
Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light.
Yeah.
That wasn't the same movie?
No, it was not the same movie. But I still think this is Eddie Murphy at or near his peak. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
And man, how 80s is this movie?
100% 80s. Even
From the soundtrack to the cars
costumes.
to the costumes to the hairstyles to the actors that are in the movie.
Yeah.
This movie is 80s, and this is peak 1984.
100% 80s.
Even
And
the tech, like the tech they're using when he's like, "Let me just jump on this computer and show you all this cool stuff." It's like DOS. It's a
all
DOS
Jumpin'
program.
Jack Flash. Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely a dated show. Does it hold up? Well, not really.
It doesn't.
I
The
mean,
comedy holds up, but a lot of the other stuff doesn't.
A lot of the references don't because it doesn't work out right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good movie. I think that the second one's better than the first, which is odd for
You think so?
movies. Yeah,
you think so?
I do.
I do think that the first one suffers from the first 20 minutes of the movie kind of lags because it's him in Detroit. It's about his partner or his old buddy getting murdered.
Yep.
But the problem is you don't feel really an emotional tie to this buddy of his because his buddy kind of seems like an a-hole.
He's dead from the beginning, pretty much.
Yeah, right from the beginning. And it's really the first 20 minutes of the movie. Whereas the second one, you know the characters, you like the characters,
Yep.
and it goes from like start to finish. It's
hard hitting for
It's
sure.
hard hitting.
And they reference the whole cigarette scheme or whatever.
Yeah.
In the second one from the first
from
one,
the first
which
one,
is really good.
Which is good. The opening song is "The Heat Is On" by Glenn Frey from the Eagles. I hate the Eagles. The heat is on. The car chase through the streets on this rewatch, I did not remember that from the beginning. Where the semi truck, Eddie Murphy's in the back of the semi truck
Hanging
after the
off.
cigarette thing. He's hanging off, and then the cop comes and yells and screams at him. What I want to know is how was that Eddie Murphy's fault? He was in the middle of the bus. The cops that came up, who by the way saw that he was a black man, tried to bust him, and They ruined his undercover operation. And then the other guy took off in the truck ramming cars and everything, but it's Eddie Murphy's fault?
Yeah.
I don't understand why he was getting yelled at.
Because he was destructing private property, and the cops don't do that back then. In public.
They did that. They didn't have cameras watching it. I like, though, that this movie pretty much addressed racial lines right off the beginning, though, too. I mean,
It did.
not only in the beginning, but throughout the entire Beverly Hills sequences, it's a lot of race tinged in, but it's done in a pretty funny manner. But you can tell they're definitely addressing, it's because I'm a black man.
Yeah,
when he gets thrown out of the window onto the street in Beverly Hills, and they arrest him, and he's like, "You're arresting me for getting thrown out a window."
Did
I assault the window?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I want to believe that part of that was brought in by Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Being the lead, which being a lead as a black actor back then wasn't necessarily calming things.
Yeah, exactly. And, another thing about the opening and the opening sequence, it reminded me a little bit, and this is another thing that makes it so 70s and so 80s, is the opening had so many car crashes, and it was something about in the 80s they had to have a car piling into 97 other cars.
Oh, yeah.
That was the only way to do any type of scene.
And they blew up extravagantly.
Yeah.
And it was never
It reminded me a lot of the Blues Brothers with all the crashes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The other thing that I noticed about this movie is you see so many elements of Eddie Murphy's stand-up routine in this as well. And I'll point to one scene. He gets to Beverly Hills, and he's walking down the street, Rodeo Drive, and he's looking at all the people, and he has the Eddie Murphy laugh, right?
Yeah.
And he sees someone walking down the street in a red leather jumpsuit. That is the red leather jumpsuit from his stand-up comedy act, Raw.
Raw, stand-up Raw.
Eddie Murphy's Raw. He was wearing that same. So that was like a little inside joke to
That's
his
awesome. I did
stand-up
not know that. I think his brother was a part of this one. Was his brother part of this one?
I don't remember seeing him. Charlie Murphy.
Charlie.
What do you? I want to ask you a question. Was Detroit always this shitty?
Yes.
Because I'm watching it in the movie, and okay, it's 1984, and it's obviously dilapidated and in poverty and really bad. And then you look at it now; it's the same. It's like, have we not done anything in 30 years, at all?
No, and even went worse because when the recession hit, nobody wanted to drive big vehicles and spend all that money in gas. And Detroit lost half of its.
So what made it bad
businesses.
before? That was back when General Motors and Ford were pretty damn strong, and it was still a shitty town. So what happened? I mean, why was it bad then?
I don't know. I didn't live there.
You didn't live there?
I didn't live
You don't
there.
have any inside scoop on Detroit?
Detroit? No, I don't. I listened to Eminem.
Oh, okay.
I know who Barry Sanders is. Lions.
Tigers?
No, that's the name of their football team.
Oh,
that's their
okay.
mascot.
That's the mascot.
No, I watched the Detroit Brothers TV show once. They build motorcycles and stuff. It's still a shithole.
Detroit Red Wings are a hockey team.
They
I know
are.
that.
Yeah.
That's about the extent of our Detroit knowledge. But all I know about it is it's a poverty-stricken, horrible crime rate area filled with
bad.
racist cops.
It's
so
a lot of murders there. And just across the river in Canada,
Yeah.
their murder rate's like 98% less.
like what a difference like 2 miles
Yeah,
makes.
right? It's like going to the wrong side of Palo Alto.
Yeah.
So 84 though, right?
Yeah, 84.
So-
What other things came out in 84? That was a pretty good year for movies.
84 was a giant year for movies because a lot of
Especially guy movies, right?
Yeah, well, and a lot of movies started a franchise. Like that was the first year of A Nightmare Before Elm Street.
Oh, that's right.
First Gremlins.
When did you see that? Did you ever see any of those in theaters?
No.
No?
I was too young, but I saw them on TV. Anytime
I remember
they were
seeing them on video, like
Yeah.
a VHS, and my mom was so mad that my dad let me rent that.
Let you watch
Yeah.
it. So that was one of them, right? That started. Gremlins started.
Okay, good.
Ghostbusters.
Who you gonna call?
Oh, Ghostbusters. Oh man, you're right.
Terminator series started.
Okay, and that's another one where we just talked about how Beverly Hills Cop, the second one, was better than the first. I think that Terminator 2 is better than Terminator 1.
I agree.
I'll be back.
Also, the Karate Kid started that year,
Wax on, right hand. Wax off, left hand.
along with
Karate
the Neverending
Kid.
Story.
Oh my gosh. I still have my lawsuit against the Neverending Story because
Do
it
you?
ended. So
well, no, they made
false
like 17
advertisement.
sequels. They're probably still making sequels. They're just going straight
Just
to
to
like,
avoid that
they're
lawsuit
just-
of mine.
They're going straight to Pluto TV. What else started that year? Police Academy started that year.
What are you, a nut? I'm a vegetarian.
Oh my goodness.
Romancing the Stone.
Romancing the Stone
which
with
is
Michael Douglas?
Which is the beginning of the Jewel and Isle.
Yep.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh my goodness. Oh, what a classic.
Footloose.
Remember
came out
Booger?
That year. Booger, yeah. He was on that TV show, Throne of Games. It was a reality show where nerds got together. So Children of the Corn was another one that started that year. Also, one other series. Where'd it go? I had it right here. No, Bachelor Party came out that year. Dune came out that year.
Dune, a good
and
action
Conan the Barbarian.
Conan the Barbarian. So Arnold kind of was on his upswing,
all
man.
over.
He had Terminator and he had that.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Yeah, that's a pretty good year for movies
That's a
overall.
great year for movies. Yeah. I mean, you've got.
You know, one of these episodes we're gonna have to talk about what is our golden year of movies. What is that
that's
year
gonna
where
be
we'll pit it against each other.
All right.
You pick a year and I'll pick a year, and we'll see which one has the dominant year in movies.
Okay, I'm down for that. What I like about it is the fact that who knows, Beverly Hills Cop might become a TV show soon, and Eddie Murphy might be the lead in as the sergeant or something. Because Karate Kid, we got Cobra Kai out now. They've had 2 very successful.
I heard that
seasons.
Cobra Kai is a pretty fun show.
It's really good.
I heard it's a pretty fun show.
A guy I know was actually in it, which is
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, Cobra Kai brought Ralph Macchio back, and it brought the other dude, Johnny, whatever his name is, and they all come back, and it's so funny. It's so
That's
funny.
cool.
It's like when you were a kid, you're like, yeah, that's
And you know,
pretty much what
Eddie
my friends
Murphy.
are now.
Eddie Murphy is old enough now to where you're right. He could play like the police
sergeant.
chief or the
Yeah.
police captain.
And then
of
the new person is like Michael B. Jordan or
oh, that's great casting. That'd be fantastic.
That'd be great if he was like the new
Right. I don't know if he's
douchebag
smart
cop
alecky enough
officer.
to play. See, one thing about Eddie Murphy in all of his roles, he has that smart aleck thing down pretty pat. Like he knows how
He
to
does.
be kind of a little bit of an ass, but the kind of ass that you root for.
Yeah, he was like the undercard ass.
So in this movie, they're always kind of playing that opening do 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 do. They're kind of
Seymour
playing that in
Frog
the
or something?
bathroom. Throughout in the bathroom, in the background is what I meant to say.
everywhere.
Throughout the entire movie, every time he's doing something, that song would come on in the
Just
background.
like this podcast. It's been playing since we started.
Yeah, it has. Non-stop in a loop in the background.
It's just really low.
Some of the fun things that I remember most about that movie, and I think one of my all-time favorite things from that movie is the bananas in the tailpipe scene.
Oh, yeah.
So Judge Reinhold's character and the other chief, the other officer, are waiting outside for him. They're supposed to be tailing him. He checks into the so actually before that, he checks into the Beverly Hilton Hotel.
Yep.
And he plays it off. Once again, he plays the race card so
Yes.
well.
Oh,
he gets
God.
very. This is actually a technique that I use a lot. So. When I'm trying to get something for free or trying to get something that maybe I don't belong to get, I don't deserve to get,
Which is most things. For
which
you.
is most things in life for me. I like to actually. Some people try and ask for things simply.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, can you hook me up? See, that's not the technique I use. I use the loud, boisterous, over the top because I've learned that people really, really want you to stop and go away, so they're
Yeah,
willing
right?
to give you whatever they
They'll
want.
give you whatever.
And he does that there at that scene. He's yelling and screaming at the. Do you want me? I've been down here to interview Michael Jackson, and if I have to tell him that I was rejected at this hotel. It's it. He's going to be done. He will not be staying at any of your properties. You know,
this was the beginning of him and his characters and his voices on movies. They just had a lower budget, so they couldn't make him a different person. He just had to go in there and be.
There was no
different.
makeup for him to be in a fat
He was
suit.
just acting like a different character, and he does it. He does it through all the movies, and it really, I think, that really set the tempo for his
future stuff.
ones.
So he's in this hotel, and they've trailed him, and they're staking him out, and he orders food. Which,
Because
by the way,
he's black,
the guy who is handing him the food from the buffet is a very young Damon Wayans.
Is it?
He is a young Damon Wayans acting as a homosexual man at the fruit stand.
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
I'll give you some bananas.
You know
That's fine.
You know whose first movie role is Beverly Hills Cop 2?
Who?
Chris Rock.
Oh.
He's the valet.
He's the valet.
He is
Okay.
at the Playboy Mansion. He's the valet.
Very good. So Axel Foley orders a couple bananas and sneaks out behind the car after he orders them some food so they're distracted from room service. And he shoves bananas in the tailpipe and then tries to make his getaway so they can't follow him, and the car sputters and goes. I was so inspired by this when I saw this when I was probably like 10 years old, 11 years old, and I always remembered it. And when we were in high school, there's this guy we kind of didn't like. He was kind of a pain in the ass. And I took tennis balls from our tennis courts and shoved them up his tailpipe. And then he tried, and then we gave him the finger. We kicked the doors on his car, and we took off. And he tried to chase after us, and his car went like 20 to 30 feet, and then conked out. It was pretty hilarious. The banana in the tailpipe thing really works.
Does it?
It's not a movie trick that really works.
I would have thought that would have been a little more airtight with the tennis ball, and you probably would have like blown up his car.
Well,
or at least the exhaust.
I don't think so. It was enough to where it caused his car to stop. But I was inspired by Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, no, I assumed you would have done something along those lines. So Beverly Hills Cop, does it hold up? What do you think?
I think it holds up because of the comedy and because of the strength of Eddie Murphy. You know, the other thing that I think kind of makes it, let's call it cliched,
okay,
if you want, is, and you see this a lot in movies, which is why it's a cliche, cops chasing someone or citizens trying to report someone for being criminal or being evil or something like that. And you always hear the same line from whether it's the police chief, the mayor, someone important. They say, he can't be a criminal. He's one of the most important businessmen in town.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm so sick of hearing that. You also hear that he's one of the most well-respected businessmen. He can't be guilty. He donated $1 million to charity. Why is that movie cliche a thing? Because now I seem that it's flipped.
Because it's real.
Well, but now it's flipped. Now, in movies nowadays, the cliche is the exact opposite. It's he's rich, so he must be the bad guy. In the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even a little bit into the 90s, it was he can't be guilty. He's the rich, nice guy in town. He's the guy who owns our local business. But nowadays, the whole entire movies are built around, okay, we're going to go get this guy. Why? Because he's rich, and that means he's evil.
He's the most rich and powerful person. And
right.
He's super evil.
So that definitely had that switch where it used to be one
right.
cliche, and now it's another cliche.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. What's funny is that they're like, well, he donated $1 million. Well, that means he has like $35 more million that he's doing illegal shit
He's
with.
doing other nasty stuff.
Everybody loved Pablo Escobar, but, well, he didn't work it out.
So the other part of this movie that I really, really liked was he's trying to confront Victor Maitland, who is the bad guy, the art dealer in the restaurant, and he's trying to get past, and the waiter won't let him in, and so he acts like the gay guy who's coming to confront his lover.
He acts like Damon Wayans.
He acts like Damon Wayans, and he goes, well, you could pass a message for him. Tell him I got tested, and I have herpes simplex 12, and he needs to get himself checked out. And then the guy goes, oh, you could go ahead and tell him. You can go ahead and tell him. And that's a great way to get in. So I really like that. And the other one is Bronson Pinchot, Balki Bartokomous, who plays Serge. His comic relief in this is fantastic. From what I read, a lot of this it was ad-libbed between him and Eddie Murphy.
That was the top of his career with Perfect Strangers, kind of being around that same time.
But would you like an espresso? I put just a lemon level twist in it.
You say Serge.
Serge.
Yeah, no, it's a good movie. I like it. Again, Eddie Murphy's been in a million movies.
Well, what about his career afterwards then? So let's talk a little bit about that. Because here we were just talking about at the beginning how this is kind of Eddie Murphy either in his prime or at the start of his prime.
Yes.
But then somewhere along the lines, I'm going to say like 1995, he Disney-fied. He started making a bunch of Disney cheesy movies. He started making Norbit, Big Mamas, whatever it is, Nutty Professor, and all that kind of stuff.
Slapstick, but made him a lot of money.
And he made a lot of money, but he kind of artistically, as an artist, completely wimped out. His movies went to not being funny, to not being entertaining. It was just like, hey, I'm going to put on a fat suit, act really silly. I'm going to make $20 million, but it's going to be critically bombed.
Medea can do it. He could do it.
I guess so.
He's the original Medea, right?
Well, and Martin Lawrence did Big Mama.
Yeah, he
Sauce.
was. That was the second one. So no, I just think he was telling the same joke over and over again.
Right.
And
but he was
like,
so revolutionary in the 80s, but then you get to the 90s and beyond, and he's kind of been like almost a caricature of himself, like a joke.
He needs to make a comeback as like a serious actor. I think he could probably kill it.
Kind of like what Jim Carrey did a little bit, where he kind of came back and he's done some serious
like
roles.
Man of the Moon-ish. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, no, he'd be a good one.
Do you think overall that this movie holds up?
Besides the technology and the references, yeah, I mean the comedic value is there for sure. Even if you're, middle-aged to young, 20s to 50s, I think you'd watch it and you'd have a good time watching it. I don't think it's definitely a sought-out movie, as we have found out.
As we found out as we were trying to stream it, yes.
But yeah, it was a good movie.
So a couple little just tidbits about the movie, some little facts about the movie. This is the first film to ever have a release on 2,000 theaters at once. So they debuted it at 2,000 theaters, which normally, if people don't know the music, they normally do a couple hundred theaters and they go off from there. This had a 2,000 theater release right from the get-go. The completed movie made such an impression on Paramount executives that they actually committed to a sequel after the first screening of the movie.
Wow.
That's also huge. You can imagine those guys were pretty excited to hear that if you're going to be in the sequel and you're like,
oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And in the first weekend, it took in $15 million, which was a really big deal because $15 million back then was not
a lot.
Very good. And then
Eddie Murphy maybe got like 200,000 maybe.
Yeah. So and then back then, Beverly Hills did not allow filming in their streets after 10:30 p.m. So all the night scenes you see were actually filmed in Pasadena, California, because they couldn't do it.
That's hilarious.
And then this actually made the American Film Institute's list of 200. Their list from the year 2000 of their 100 funniest American movies.
Really? That's a good movie. Golden Child was one of his better movies too. That was a really fun.
Yeah, very
movie.
Underrated.
Yeah, very. It had so much cool effects, and the story was really cool. It was it's almost like a comic book movie in a sense. The one thing I was going to bring up, though, is that I was wrong earlier when I said Beverly Hills. They've made 4 of them. They've made 3 of them. The third one is the amusement park. The fourth one is it being announced. It's announced.
Oh, really?
So
they are going to do another one. Oh, that'd be
after
fun.
He does Coming to America 2, which comes out next year, which is called Coming to with the number 2 America. I'm excited to watch that one with Arsenio Hall. Him as Akeem.
Yeah. So you know what? And so it's funny. We literally just now talked about how Eddie Murphy needs to kind of get back to doing stuff that's funny.
Yeah.
Him doing Beverly Hills Cop 4 and him doing Coming to America 2 is exactly what I want him to be doing.
What we need to be doing, yeah. No,
let's bring Eddie Murphy back to being funny, because as of right now, the funniest person in the Murphy family is Charlie Murphy. I'm more entertained by Charlie Murphy than I am by Eddie Murphy at this point, only because Eddie Murphy hasn't done anything in like a decade that I think is worth seeing.
And Charlie Murphy's dead. You know that, right?
He is?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I doubt your level of accuracy.
Okay, let's look up. I know I'm right because I knew a lot of comedians that knew him.
I went to his funeral.
All right, I got an internet. You don't. Charlie Murphy, he died April 12, 2017.
Oh, no.
So his death is more funny than Eddie Murphy's acting career right now?
I find it funny when black men die. There, I said it.
All right, so I let you put your foot all the way in.
All the way in. That's
all the way in
there
before I asked for it out.
All right, so I think if we were to vote, we would say right now, yes to part 4.
Yes
and
to part 4.
And yes, this movie is funny enough to hold up, but not funny or not good enough to where it's considered part of the
fabric of movie history.
Right, it's really not, but it's an enjoyable watch, and I think I agree with you. If I was going to watch one Beverly Hills Cop, I would watch part 2.
2, yeah. But 2 was really smart, too. They did 2. Anyway, they did a lot of like Back to the Future, where they brought a lot of references from the first movie, where they brought in the cigarette bus, like I was saying earlier. So there was, and his partner, Paul Reiser, like just pretend you're me, drive around in the car. The girls just want the car. Just drive around in the car. Yeah. And he calls him, I wrecked the car. What do you mean you wrecked the car?
Yeah, part 2 is pretty good.
So.
I am excited to pick a movie that we'll do next time, but I also like our idea of picking a year in movies and kind of competing against each other. I think that's a good one to do in the future.
I think the next one's the year.
The year.
Maybe our birth years. Ooh. So 1912.
1912 for
is
you.
What Eric should be going after.
No, so mine would be 1980. Yours would be, what, 78,
78,
right?
which I don't think we should do our birth years because I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
It was not even in color.
Did they have sound then?
No, it was still Charlie Chaplin.
Hey, I love Charlie Chaplin. All right,
He's
everybody.
so funny when he talks.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk.
He does talk in his later movies, but
Does
for
he?
90% of his career, he didn't talk.
Yeah, well, that was probably the better part of the career.
Yeah. No, well, they were all fantastic.
I wish you could get on stage and do that now.
I'm a huge Charlie Chaplin fan, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Well, your handle's Sinatra's Rat Pack.
Yeah, so I definitely like the older stuff. All right, everybody. Well, that wraps it up for our special edition here, our very special Brady Christmas special episode of We Should Be Better at This.
Ding, fries are done. You said special.
Oh, I did. Okay.
Go to thisisfunner.com. You can find all the links to this shows and many others podcasts that I do with my family. And you can click on my ugly mug and you can find my Instagram and stuff.
If you click on my mug, it goes to Pornhub.com.
It does. And it's actually where we should have watched this movie.
Yeah. It actually might have came through. All right, everybody.
All right.
Well, you have a great time, and let's watch more movies.
Yeah, catch you later.
Monetizing digital services since 2004. Boosting the entertainment industry by making digital content accessible for everyone. AWG, where innovation meets monetization.